The book of Judges, chapter 12, verses 5 through 6 reads, "The Gileadites captured the fords of the Jordan leading to Ephraim, whenever a survivor of Ephraim said, 'Let me cross over,' the men of Gilead asked them, 'Are you an Ephraimite?' If he replied, 'No,' they said, 'All right, say Shibboleth.' He said, 'Sibboleth,' because he could not pronounce the word correctly. They seized him and killed him at the fords of the Jordan." Now, it's a gruesome story. In fact, it says that 42,000 Ephraimites were killed in this way, all in the name of God, of course. It's stories like this that attribute violence to God that made me discount the Bible for years. But that's because, like a fundamentalist, I was reading these stories literally, as if they were history. Now I read them with curiosity, as teaching tales to see what lessons they might offer. This story from Judges begs the question, what words can you not say that if you could might save you? Now, in a sermon on this subject, the Reverend C.E. McLean tells us, "There are people for whom it's very difficult to say love. I love you should be easy words to say to people who we care about. But like shibboleth, love is hard for some people to verbalize. Another word like this is sorry. It's not easy for some people to say, 'I was wrong. I'm sorry.' And their inability to say it can cost them a job or a friendship, a promotion, a relationship. It can even cost them their integrity. In that sense, a person can lose his or her life, the life that they knew and loved, due to an inability to say sorry. And how about the word we? There are folks who only seem to be able to speak in terms of us and them, or in terms of me, myself, and I. And they never learn how to say one of the simplest and most connecting words in the English language, we. In Israel, they can't say we, and for generation after generation, it's deadly. The inability to say we has killed many more than 42,000 people. Heck, right here in Tulsa, right here in All Souls at times, some people have trouble saying we. Words are very powerful. Words like I love you, I'm sorry, and we have the power to enhance and possibly save a person's life and even a person's soul. Now, when I say soul, I'm talking about that part of us that's more than our physical being. Saving our soul involves saving our life's meaning. In this case, our soul includes the part of us that remains after we die, like our influence on others. Living with soul means living with a sense of passion and purpose. A soulful life touches others in ways that cannot always be seen, but can be felt at the deepest level of our being. By this definition, we all have a soul. The question is whether we nurture it, cultivate it, or realize its significance. Or whether we become too caught up in material things so that greed and envy and lust for power and privilege and prestige come to dominate our lives, and we lose our soul. We lose our connection to our life's meaning and purpose. Tending to the soul is about tending to that part of us that knows without instruction what is real and lasting and true. You can feel it when your soul is being fed. Many times, for many people, it's nourished in nature. Watching a sunset or a sunrise is a banquet for the soul. A heart-to-heart conversation with a friend is like a good mug of hot chocolate for the soul. A beautiful poem that awakens us is like cool spring water to the soul. Arresting music is like sacred wine that fills every inch of the soul with sensation. One of the most satisfying ways to feed the soul is by doing something for someone who needs it. And then learning how to let someone do something for you when you need it. Learning to receive love and kindness is one of the soul's greatest desserts. But as David James Duncan has said in his book, God Laughs and Plays, the word soul, like so many other sacred words like faith, grace, salvation, redemption, and God, have been enduring a series of abuses so constricting that the damage may last for centuries. Too many of us have tried to sidestep this damage by simply rejecting the terminology. But this defaming of religious vocabulary cannot be undone by turning away. The harm is undone when we work to reopen the words, their true history and nuance and depth. He reminds us that holy words need stewardship as surely as do gardens, orchards, and ecosystems. And that is one of our important roles here, to be stewards of sacred language, to do our part to ensure that the transcendent beauty and power of art and literature and mysticism and mythology and music are not lost. And as Duncan would say, we must expose the hijacking of Christianity for the reductionist ripoff that it has too often become. We cannot let close-minded Christians or prosperity-preaching preachers or intolerant televangelists or self-righteous reverends get away with claiming exclusive ownership of this potent and powerful and life-altering lexicon. Nor can we let them claim to be the sole definers and defenders of Jesus. Jesus, who was a lover of enemies, prostitutes, foreigners, and children. Jesus, who preached forgiveness rather than judgment. Jesus, who rebelled against rigid religious rules. Jesus, who taught us to love and serve, not damn and condemn. My point is not that these fundamentalists are all wrong. They're not all wrong. It's just that they're not as right or as righteous as they seem to claim. And to allow them to define God, Jesus, salvation, faith, and grace unchecked and unchallenged does a disservice to our traditions and cuts us off from the use of words that someday could save our lives, if not our souls. Too many good people have been turned away and turned off from these rich and enduring and life-giving words by people who have caged them in literalism and narrowness. So today, many people have difficulty speaking these words, for they have lost their meaning and they've picked up meanings that do not serve us well. But one day I realized that I had let these so-called fundamentalists steal Jesus from me, and I wanted him back. He was a rebel, a heretic, a storyteller, a teacher. He was a healer and a lover. He was tolerant and even enjoyed an occasional party and a glass of wine once in a while. Why should these Christian supremacists who think that they own Jesus get to claim him and take him from me and you and our children?